I'm on a quest to collect the 6 marathon major stars, and it's time to face my final boss. So let's hop in a plane and head to Germany. This is a runner's weekend at the Berlin Marathon.
Guess I let my feelings take control. Guess I let my demon take the wheel. Used to think that we be growing old. I can't believe that it was real. It was back in late December when I did it. I just wish I could forget. Cause I hate how much I love it, or I hate how I just love to catch a feel. Yeah.
Yo, what's going on? Just made it into Berlin, dropped my bags off at the hotel because I can't check in yet, but I've got a very busy day today, even though I am trying to take it a little bit easy since I'm racing this weekend. First thing I'm gonna do today, I think I'll make it on time, is head over on the train and meet up with some friends at Adidas at the Adidas brand house. One of the things that I don't want to repeat from London is I got very busy and I forgot to eat. I forgot to carb load properly. So I'm gonna try to make sure every time I go somewhere, I grab some food. We're in Germany, we're in Berlin, so I got a pretzel. It's really good. All right, guys, so I think it's supposed to be here, but I'm early. I don't see anyone else yet.
For their Berlin Marathon brand space, Adidas took over what appeared to be an abandoned building with an interior courtyard. Soon, my friends had all arrived and the day's events kicked off, with German national record holder Emanuel Petros riding a bike with a basket full of flowers and also the upcoming Adizero Evo SL. We followed him into one of the rooms and got a rundown of this upcoming shoe. And there was coffee prepared by someone who I think may be the world's fastest marathon barista, Romain Wendell. After some time with the Evo SL, we split up into smaller groups, and my group had a special coffee tasting led by Romain. And I'm not saying that he's a marathon barista because like he has a day job or whatever. The dude is like a legit sommelier, but with the highest end coffees. We tasted a couple of different kinds of coffees, and yes, we had to slurp to get the full effect. And it was interesting to get a peek into the world of really specialty coffees. But as much as I love coffee, I think this whole thing was a bit more complex than my palate can appreciate. Oh, and by the way, Romain told us that he was not intending on running the marathon that hard that weekend, but he would go on to run a 2:21 on the streets of Berlin. The next section we had was with the product team. We learned more about what went into the development of the Adios Pro 4, as well as new upcoming Adizero apparel. And on that, I had just one triumphant word to say: pockets. Then we got a quick rundown of Adizero marathon history. I've seen a lot of these shoes in Herzo in the Adidas archives, but it was really great to see them laid out like this and highlighted in a way that was specific to races at the Berlin Marathon. Finally, there was a glow-up station where you can get your hair and nails done, as well as customize a singlet or shirt with either embroidery or heat press patches. then it was time for lunch.
All right, that's about it from the brand house. Expo's not open yet. We're gonna get some food.
I thought you couldn't see.
Finished lunch. Tommy went off to go shopping. We just took a very crowded train, most of which emptied out here at the Expo. All right, so the Expo is at a literal airport, or what used to be an airport, and the Expo just opened, but there is a long line of people trying to get bibs. It's amazing.
I've been to 5 different World Marathon majors at this point, and I know how stressful they can be. But somehow I was expecting the German one to be much more efficient. But the Berlin Marathon left so much to be desired. The queuing systems were vague, people were constantly cutting in line or touching me for no reason, and the whole thing just took forever. After we got our numbers, Alex and I got wristbands, which I'm not sure why we needed them, and then we were able to get into the main expo itself. The first area was Adidas stuff and official race merch. And you know that scene in the Santa Claus 3 where Tim Allen goes to the bizarro North Pole and it's like a Black Friday shopping nightmare? That's kind of what it felt like. People were frantic and literally throwing clothes all over the place, trying to find their sizes. I did get a couple of souvenirs from my daughters, but that was only because Alex was also getting some things. If he weren't buying anything, I definitely would have just left. The line to buy merch was longer than the line to pick up bibs and much more stressful.
What's up, Co-Vlog? This is Herm coming in live from Berlin Marathon Expo. We got Mike here. He's gonna get his 6-star bib, which is an additional bib that you wear on your back. He said, and I quote, "Sounds hot." Not like attractive, but just hot. So we'll see if he actually wears it. Stay tuned.
The rest of the expo was in the next room, or hangar, I guess. And it was, you know, an expo. Some of the other major running shoe brands were there, and there was some interesting booths, but overall, the whole experience was exhausting. Alex's hotel was near mine, so he took the same train back over towards the zoo and stopped for some burgers before I was finally able to check into my hotel and call it a night.
Okay, it is 2 a.m. in the morning here in Berlin. I've been up for 2 hours. The jet lag is definitely hitting strong. I went to bed at before 8 p.m. last night. I was exhausted, and now I can't stay asleep. So let's go over some of the stuff that was in the bags that I got from Adidas. Adios Pro 4 tote. There is a poster. I think it's stickers. Oh, this shirt is amazing. Another bag. I got a pair of Adizero SL. Lightstrike Pro no plate. Herm was wearing his around all day yesterday at the expo, and they look amazing. Then I think the only other thing in that bag, card from the event. And then they have this, a Yeti, a Rambler, an Adidas logo. Love these. Now, I did also go shopping at the expo. Here's what I got. Cotton tee. And then I love this print, gold, 3 stripes, and like this yellow outline here, that's the course outline. That's what I got yesterday. Now, I'm probably gonna do some work before I have to start getting ready for the Shakeout run. Maybe I'll try and get some more sleep.
I took a nap for a few hours, and then it was time for breakfast at the hotel. Breakfast was included with my hotel stay via sports tours, and it's Europe, so there was plenty of cheese, smoked fish, unrefrigerated yet slightly chilled juice, croissants, and scrambled eggs. I also had a cafe creme from a machine, which as far as I can tell was just coffee, and really nice views of the early morning sun.
Good morning. It is 7 a.m. here in Berlin on a Friday. I'm going to head over to meet Alex, and we are going to hop on a train, go for the Believe in the Run Adidas Shakeout. Alex and I got lost on the way to the run and had a little side adventure through a strange park. So by the time we arrived, t-shirts had already been given out, and Thomas and retired pro marathoner Philip Flagger were getting people sorted for the group photo. We had a little bit of time for selfies while everyone's GPS was connecting, and then we were off. We are about a mile in. Just met Lars over here. This is
What's going on, everybody?
It's like a river of people. It's amazing. Yeah, of course.
Sorry. Thank you.
5K on the dot. Feeling good.
Back at the Adidas Sports Space, there was water, coffee, and pretzels, and it was a great time to catch up with friends.
Alright guys, we are leaving the Shakeout run with Chris and Alex. Now, I gotta add in a couple of extra miles for today and do some strides, and we're gonna try to do it over by the Berlin Wall. Let's go. The fact that parts of the Berlin Wall still exist both does and doesn't make sense to me. It's an important part of history, but it's such an unhappy history. At the sports tour's after party, someone who lived in Berlin told me that graffiti used to only be on one side of the wall, the western side. On the eastern side, you couldn't get anywhere near it because of barbed wire and armed guards. Today, there's art on both sides, and people come here to go on leisurely walks and take selfies. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but it was good to spend some time with my friends during this busy week. Now generally, I'm trying to stay off my feet and take it easy this week because I am trying to race hard on Sunday. But I do still want to do a little bit of sightseeing. So now let's go check out the Victory Column and the Brandenburg Gate. The Victory Column was designed in 1864 to commemorate the Prussian victory over the Danish. And I could see it from my hotel room, but I wanted to walk the mile distance to get a closer look. I'm always captivated by statues whenever I visit a new city. And there's something about Victoria that is particularly majestic. There's also an observation deck on the Victory Column that you can buy a ticket to, but you'd have to take the stairs to get there, so I decided not to go. From the Victory Column, you could see straight over to the Brandenburg Gate and also the start line of the Berlin Marathon. There were fences blocking the road in preparation for the race, so I took a detour through the park. It was a lovely walk under the tall tree canopy that made me feel like I was in a deep wooded forest and not in a major European city. Eventually, I got to Brandenburg Gate, which was erected on the former site of a gate to the road to Brandenburg. It's probably one of the more recognizable landmarks in Berlin, and maybe perhaps all of Germany. The Berlin Wall used to run right in front of it, and a lot of the most famous photos of the wall coming down were from this very section. I was supposed to be meeting Drew at the gate, but I got there a little bit before he did, so I stopped at a nearby food stand and got vegan currywurst. And this might be a good point to note that, of the many places that I've been to over the past few years, Berlin has had the widest variety and most accessible vegetarian options.
Once Drew arrived, we took a selfie by the gate and then tried to go to Move, a Berlin Marathon exhibit celebrating the past 49 years of the event. Unfortunately, the marathon was having an opening ceremony kind of event and the area was closed off. So Drew and I decided to hop in an Uber and check out the Adidas Flagship store. We survived that Uber ride. The taxi driver was aggressive. He was not happy to be driving today. He was so mad.
The Ubers are an adventure here.
The Adidas Flagship had a lot of the Berlin Marathon merch, as well as a lot of Berlin-specific Adidas apparel. I was looking for a pair of half tights that Drew had that featured some really nice pockets. And while I normally don't like race merch because I feel like it makes me feel really old really fast when I put on something from a race 3 or 4 years ago that felt like it was just yesterday, Drew's half tights had a lot of pockets. And a good pair of Adidas half tights with good pockets is hard to find. Unfortunately, they seem to be out at this store. The rest of the store, though, was really nice. Multiple levels, multiple sports represented. The lines were super long throughout all the cash wraps, which is to be expected during a marathon weekend, but the vibe overall was pretty good. Down in the basement level was Adidas Originals, and I had the most fun there. I love checking out some of the more adventurous designs, and I wished I had just a little bit more room in my suitcase to be shopping for shoes. Drew took off. He's got to go meet up with the rest of the Adidas crew. They're having a dinner. I was invited to the dinner, but I don't want to go all the way over to where... Hey, oh my God, can I get a selfie? Yeah. Okay, so like I was saying, Drew's going with the Adidas crew. They're doing a thing. I was invited, but it's really far from here, and then dinner doesn't start till 7. And then I'd have to get all the way back to my hotel, which isn't that close from where they are. That's just too much. I've already been around the city too much today, on my feet too much today. I'm just gonna grab some pasta over here, hopefully, and then hunker down for the night. Good morning. It is a little bit after 7 a.m. on a Saturday here in Berlin. Let's go on the sports tours, Shakeout. All right, beautiful morning. Got great light, about 50 degrees, temperature's nice. Halfway through the run, we're gonna take a little photo. We'll have that. All right, 2.5 miles, feeling good. I had made a friend during the group run, so after breakfast, we decided to meet in the lobby and walk over together to a different hotel where Sports Tours was doing its course briefing. Now, there are a lot of people here, way more than were in my group at the hotel. And from what I can gather, Sports Tours operates in numerous countries and they generally try to keep different regional and language groups together in the same hotel. For example, during the Shakeout, I noticed a French-speaking Sports Tours group on their own group run, and when I was with Sports Tours for the London Marathon, I got put in with a group that was mostly Irish. I think they were Irish. I'm terrible with accents. And while you typically do stuff like Shakeout runs or going to the Expo with just your small group at your hotel, some things you do with the big group, and this was one of those big group things. By the way, coincidentally, I sat next to someone who I had met at a Shakeout run in Tokyo. Small world. Anyway, the course briefing went over general race stuff like bag drop locations, where to find porta potties, and start times. But we also went over Sports Tours specific stuff, like when each hotel would be heading over to the race together, or where and when family members would be heading to which cheer locations. Yimmy was there to give us his take on the course itself, I first saw him speak at the London Marathon course briefing, and he always does a fantastic job of teaching you the course and letting you know where to be to get the best race photos. And then after the briefing, I did a quick interview for Sports Tour's social media feed.
So I'm going to try and stay off my feet. There's so much I want to see, so many pop-ups that I want to go to, but I'm going to try and be reasonable. Instead, the only other thing that I'm going to do today is head back over to the Brandenburg Gate. I want to go see that Move exhibit. All I want to do is get across the street and get into that exhibit, but there's a 5K going on right now. I don't think I'm ever going to get there.
It seemed everyone was at the gate that day, including some friends, which was a perfect surprise. We took a selfie, which everyone was taking selfies, and we chatted for a bit.
No, you get in the middle.
Oh, okay. It's a capuzi sandwich.
I tried to get them to join me for the Move exhibit, but they weren't interested, so we parted ways. It was a bit of a wait to get in, but once inside, there was history on the start of the race, the introduction of women to the race, the fall of the Berlin Wall, the numerous records that were broken here, and of course, the medals.
That's it. Time to get some food.
Later that evening, I was invited to dinner with Sports Tours. Apparently, there's also a VIP package available, and they stay at a different hotel with a slightly different itinerary. When I was told it would be a pasta buffet dinner, I thought it would be a pretty quick, informal affair. But instead, the VIP group was doing their race briefing during dinner. So I got a lot of the same information I had already gotten earlier in the day, but now I was seated and eating really nice vegan and vegetarian food. Again, I gotta say that the vegetarian and vegan options in Berlin really impressed me. It just felt very thoughtful. On the way out, I was able to pick up a couple of Sports Tours goodies, and ominously, one woman asked me if I would like office supply hole reinforcement stickers for my bib. I declined because I've never had anyone offer that to me before, and I've never had a problem with the holes punched in my bib before. Back at my hotel, it was time to set out my clothes and gear for the race in the morning and then get some rest.
Good morning. It is currently 6:52 a.m. here on a Sunday in Berlin, race day. Temperature is 41 degrees, although it feels warmer than that, thankfully. Temp should be just about perfect for racing today, but first things first, gotta get to the starting line. I'm gonna try an e-bike. So far, this trip has been really nice. There have been bike lanes the entire trip so far, except for just right here. There isn't one, but that's okay. It's really early, really quiet. This is the best way to get around. I did this a lot when I was in Paris for the Olympics, and I just absolutely love these e-bikes. Scooters, nah, but the e-bikes, I love them. All right, now we're just a couple of blocks from the Brandenburg Gate. so much less stress than if I had to walk this whole way. It was only about 2 miles, but I feel like that's a lot of time and distance to be in slides. Before the race, Adidas gave me access to the Adidas Runners pre-race spot. It was unfortunately outside of the security gates, but it was warm, indoors, there was food and coffee, a DJ, and our own bathrooms. My friends all started to arrive from their hotels, and we waited for a short while together before heading off into the corrals. Getting through security was fast and bag drop was easy, but then getting to the corrals themselves was a bit more of an adventure. Again, I was expecting more order and clarity from a German race, but it was just a giant bolus of people slowly making their way into the corrals. I had a B bib, but I wanted to race with Drew, so I went with him and Matt B into the C corral. Pretty soon, we were off and running. I've already made a Berlin Marathon race video, and I'm happy with how that one turned out. So here, I'd like to talk a little bit more about what was going on in my head during the race. I'd love to be able to say that I went into the race with gratitude for the 5 stars I'd already been able to collect, and was using positive memories from those events to power me through this one. But that was not the case. For most of the race, I was trying to not think about anything. I wanted to zone out and just run. My training over the summer was constantly interrupted with travel. Good travel, but there was a lot of it. Pretty much a different city every week. And that made training difficult. Plus, I particularly dislike summer training, which may be why my fastest marathons are spring marathons and my slowest ones are fall marathons. But in either event, I went into this race knowing that I would have to give my all to get just even a decent result. But no matter how well I ran, it wouldn't be anything near what my PR pace from less than 2 years ago would be. So I looked at my watch very little, and I tried to just let my body do what it could do. If anything, I wanted to run a bit conservatively. I took a very big risk at London in hopes of a breakthrough performance, and it blew up in my face. So today, I wanted to run at least reasonably well and come away with feeling like I had accomplished something. The course was crowded the entire way. With 54,000 finishers, the most ever in any marathon, the course was bound to be a bit congested, and I think Berlin did a pretty good job of managing all those runners. But I felt like it was hard to get into a rhythm. I was constantly catching up to or getting caught off by other runners. It wasn't bad, it just wasn't great. By mile 19, I felt a stabbing pain in my left hamstring, and kilometers 35 to 40 seemed endless. But then, as I made the final turn onto Unter den Linden, I saw the Brandenburg gate and my spirits lifted. I found Joe Robinson on the side of the course and made him run in with me, and as we crossed under the gate, I reached that moment that I had been visualizing in all my workouts leading up to Berlin. I felt like I was flying through the gate for those final 400 meters of the race. The finish line was far, but I think it's the best finish of all the majors. The crowd is spectacular, you feel the history of speed in Berlin, and you float with the biggest smile across the finish line. My time was 3:13:04, and I would have loved to have run just 5 seconds faster because 3:12 sounds so much better than 3:13. And right around the middle of the race, my bib ripped itself off the pins on my singlet, and I had to stop and poke 2 new holes in my bib to make sure it stayed on. I think that easily cost me 5 seconds, but that's how marathoning goes. It's a maddening, unpredictable game of seconds. I found Matt B at the finish and tried to wait for Drew, but he would end up being a few minutes behind. I walked over to get my medal and found Ted Metellus, the race director for the New York City Marathon. I first met Ted with Ali Feller on the sidelines of the World Championships Marathon in Eugene back in 2022.
and I've seen him at just about every major marathon since. I've always appreciated Ted because he understands what people like me are trying to do for the running community. He listens to what we runners have to say. He helps make changes happen when he can, and he helps us understand the reasons why, if there are times when he can't. When I told Ted I was getting my 6th star, he insisted that he would walk me over and be the one to give it to me. And when he introduced me to that 6-star booth and people started applauding, that's when things got surprisingly emotional.
Congratulations.
We got one coming right now. Here we go. Thank you so very much. Michael, here you go.
Oh, man.
Your 6-star journey is now concluded, brother.
Thank you so much.
There it is, man. Well done.
And when the medal hit my chest, suddenly all the finish lines from all the majors started flooding back to me. I had a lot of help to do it. I had a lot of support. But I ran around the world and back. And for just a moment, I stood in the sunshine, breathed a deep breath, and took stock of the unforgettable memories I collected along the way.